Okay, so welcome to Personal Training 1. This is obviously the lecture component of Personal Training 1. As I said, I've met a lot of you in the lab already, and it's great to meet you in person. So I look forward to working with you in the lab as well. If you're not in my lab, and I think this section, most people are actually with me, but if you're not, then the other lab instructor is Manny, and he will be working with you in the other lab sections if you're not with me. And I'm not sure, I think most names I do recognize, but we'll find out as we move on. I think I'm with most of you. So if not, let me know in the chat because I might skim over through the lab expectations because I did go through them in lab. Okay. So our lecture time is Fridays at 12:10. We'll start at 12:10. So if you want to come, I'll be online at 12 just to come in for the first 10 minutes. Ask me any questions you might have. If you'd like, you can. And then we'll be done at 2 o'clock. Okay. If for any reason, and I know you're on campus, most of you till 2 on Thursday. So if you can't attend the Friday section, maybe if you're still on campus, you could attend the Thursday section if you wanted to as well. The link is provided. So let's say you had a doctor's appointment or something came up on the Friday, then if you'd like to join on Thursday, you're more than welcome to. But try to keep it consistent with your schedule and come to Friday, the Friday section. So I don't know if you have another class on Thursdays at that time, if anyone wants to say in the chat if you do, but that is another option if you aren't unable to attend and you want to join a live section. Okay. So welcome back. Little break you had from the summer semester, but I'm sure it's nice to actually be on campus and seeing your classmates in person and getting to know each other in person. So I hope you look forward to being on campus once a week. So when we go through our lectures, we'll typically go through any questions at the beginning of class. So kind of like the format of our lectures. If you have any questions, I'll answer any questions you have about content from the previous week. Maybe you have a question about the lab that you forgot to ask me in the lab. Then we'll go through the lecture. Some lectures might be more discussion based where we're, let's say, for example, creating a program together where it's not just me going through content, we'll actually apply the knowledge that we've gained. And then at the end, again, depending on the format, we'll have some activities and discussions at the end. So I might have some questions for you. So I expect and hope you participate in the activities and discussions at the end of class based on the lecture content. So some weeks will have more discussion than others, right? So there's still content we need to get through. Some will lead to more of a discussion than others, okay? So my contact information is here. This is my email. It's been posted on DC Connect. I hope you've found it by now. And I know some of you were also with me in the summer, so you should have my email by now. So that's the best way to contact me is through email. If you are with me in the lab, then you're more than welcome to ask me any questions about something in person if you want to talk in person, but you're always welcome to just shoot me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Usually I'm pretty good at answering emails. Yes, if it's like an important email, I will answer on the weekend, but bear with me on the timing, right? Some weekends I'm busier than others, but you know, my emails come to my phone so I can quickly answer you if it's a quick question. If you'd like to book an appointment and talk to me one-on-one, we can. You can just send me an email. If you want, we can talk online through Teams, or if you'd like, we can also talk in person. So either before or after your lab. I know some of you might be coming from the other lab, so might not work to be beforehand. Thursdays, again, are a rush for me, so it might be better just to meet through Teams online. But if it's a quick question, you're more than welcome to ask me in person. I hope you know the location of our lab by now, G110. So that's where we're going to be every week for our lab. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about me. And again, if you've had me in the summer, you know already a little bit about me. But for those of you who are not with me this summer, I'll give you a little bit of a background on myself. So my background, I went to York University for kinesiology. So that is a four-year program at York, straight out of high school. So I completed my kinesiology degree at York as well. In the last year, there's the opportunity, if you wanted to apply, to be in the fitness certificate counseling stream. So I completed that in my 4th year. With that, I was able to get my CEP as a certified exercise physiologist and a lot of hands-on experience. I got to work as a TA then as well, so teaching other students different assessment protocols. Also got more hands-on experience, for example, doing fitness testing for firefighters, doing fitness assessments for police officers, got to do on campus, we had a satellite site for cardiac rehab. So got to work with cardiac rehab patients. So those are just some things that was a great opportunity to have at York University. And I love school so much, I decided to stay for another 2 years and do my master's at York. So I completed my master's at York as well, basically continuation of that certificate stream, a lot of the hands-on experience, working with different types of clients. I even had a field placement at Sick Kids Hospital where I got to work with different children with different disabilities and doing fitness testing on them. So there are different studies going on at the time. And for example, children with cystic fibrosis, they have to be monitored as well. So we do, depending on the child, but like yearly assessments just to see their capacity as they are growing up. So that's just a little bit of my experience with school. So I also worked for the city of Vaughan for about 10 years as a personal trainer, as a fitness consultant. So that's where you're supervising the floor, basically making sure everyone is exercising safely. If anyone has questions, you go around and kind of walk around, help people. So some of you might have a placement like that where you're at a gym. You're probably going to be on the floor and talking to different clients and helping them out with their exercise. Also taught a variety of group exercise classes, such as spin classes, so cycling, boot camp, yoga, aqua fitness, older adult classes as well, but really fit older adults. But again, everyone's at different levels. As a personal trainer, I've worked with a variety of clients. I worked with like teenagers looking to just get fit. I worked with older clients, like 80 years old with several conditions and issues, middle-aged clients who are just looking to stay in shape and have a trainer motivate them. So there's a really wide spectrum of different types of people you could work with. So if you do plan on becoming potentially a personal trainer, do you want to target a specific audience, or do you want to just work with the general population? So some of you might look towards working with more athletes, or some of you might want to work with more clinical populations. Depends. I kind of just did a little bit of everything and worked with a variety of clientele. Okay, and so that's kind of in a nutshell my experience with the city of Vaughan. I also worked for TriFit for about a year, and TriFit does not exist anymore. The name doesn't, but the clients and the concept still exists. So TriFit is basically corporate fitness, where this company gets contracted out by companies such as IBM, such as Campbell Soup, such as Rogers, for example, where you actually run the fitness programming for the employees at that company. So my experience was with IBM employees. There was actually a gym on site at IBM where we basically ran the gym. I taught group exercise classes, basically doing different activities and programs to try and keep the employees of IBM healthy, right? That's the idea. So we even had like lunch and learns and different types of activities. So they got bought out by a company called Medisys. And then after that, if you've seen postings, some of you might be on Indeed or you get emails of job postings, but there's a job posting that keeps coming up, or several job postings for TELUS Health for like wellness consultants. And so Medisys just got bought out by TELUS Health. So TELUS Health is basically the new version of TriFit. And so everyone just keeps getting bought out. So if you ever see those job postings for fitness and wellness consultants for TELUS Health, that is basically what TriFit used to be. So running corporate programs for different employees or companies, right? So it depends on the company. So was my experience with TriFit. I'll give you a little bit of a background of my certification. So as I've said, I'm a CSEP CEP, which is a certified exercise physiologist. And so with that one, you do need a university degree. Some of you might be interested to go on after this program and go into kinesiology. After you're done your program at kinesiology, you could get your CSEP CEP if you wanted to. So that's where you can actually work with more higher risk clients and populations with more chronic conditions. So that is the CEP, but you can get your CPT as a certified personal trainer when you are done this program. So you are able to write the exam and do the practical test. So some of you might be interested in that. We'll talk about it more in a bit. I do have a few slides on that. As well, I am certified with OFC, which is Ontario Fitness Council. It is basically certification for teaching group exercise classes. So if that is something that interests you, you want to teach boot camp classes or, different types of classes at the gym, this is a certification you could look into. Not as much for profit as, for example, CanFit Pro. So if you're looking at CanFit Pro, if you knew, it is run by Good Life. Okay, so again, the quality of it, if you want to work at Good Life, go ahead. If you want to get your CanFit Pro, you can. But if you do want to work, let's say at a community center or somewhere where you might be working with more at-risk patients and clients, then you might want to look into more CSEP CEP or CPT. Obviously CPT when you're done your program, but this is like the gold standard technically. Again, there's not one certification that every gym is going to say, no, you need your CSEP. Some will just take you with CanFit Pro. It depends where you're looking to work. So if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. But usually when you look at job postings, you'll see the requirements. Some gyms are so desperate for trainers and fitness consultants, they're taking anyone with a CPR, first aid, and a high school degree or diploma, not a degree. So they're kind of getting desperate, and that kind of lowers the quality of care and programming for the population, right? Because you do need some education and experience, not just high school, to go train people, because you can really put them at risk if you don't know what you're doing, as you probably know already. So that's my main certifications. I have other training and experience as well. For example, there's a program called HeartWise where it's, training for people who have gone through cardiac rehab. There is BoneFit for people with osteoporosis. These are just certificates you pay, you do like a weekend course, and you have this extra training. So there's always continuing education opportunities in the field. And again, you're more than welcome to always take those if that's something that interests you and you want to develop yourself as a professional. And lastly, that leads me to where I am today. I've been teaching here at Durham College for 4 years now. So I think this is like my 4th time teaching this course. You are the last round of students who get to be in the course called Personal Training 1. It's going to change to the name Exercise Prescription 1. Sounds a little better because you might be like, I don't want to be a personal trainer, I don't care. So it is the exact, pretty much very similar, the exact same course, but really kind of focusing on exercise prescription, and that's what we're doing anyways. So you get to be the last round of students who get to say, I took Personal Training 1. So I do teach Personal Training 2 as well. So if you are going to continue on with the winter term, you'll be with me again for part 2. I'll tell you part 2 is probably a little more interesting in the lab. If you like to do more barbell movements and more free weight stuff, that's more next semester. And I also teach at Humber College, so my time is occupied between both colleges. I teach similar courses, introduction to fitness, fitness assessment, exercise prescription, so different courses like that, very similar to what you're taking here at Durham College. So that kind of divides my time and keeps me busy between both colleges. So when I'm not teaching or worrying about getting my slides ready for you guys, this is what I do in my spare time. I have my 1-year-old son. He is getting quite big now. So this is him with the cable machine here. As you can see, he's already getting into working out. And then that's us by the lake in this summer. I also did wrestling back in the day in high school. So that was probably like my most favorite sport that I've done. Very challenging, but very fun. As well, I like to go camping. This is a photo of me going cliff jumping. So I do like doing that, and we'll see. As I get older, you might be like, I don't know if I want to jump, but I think I'd still do it. This was a few years ago. I also like to work out. Obviously, that's why I teach this stuff. So anything that I teach you, I've probably done myself. So I like to deadlift. If some of you saw that in the lab, I mentioned that was my favorite exercise. If we got to that one, I was in one of the labs. And then Some music I like to listen to some metal music. So this is actually me at my wedding. We had 2 hours-ish of mosh pitting at my wedding. So I don't have any pictures of me moshing at a concert, but that is what I like to do in my spare time, listen to some good music. So we're training our son to like the music too. He likes Down with the Sickness by Disturbed, if you know that song. He actually likes it, so. All right, so that's a little bit about me when I'm not teaching, when not my, when I'm not here, this is what I'm doing. I'm probably running around chasing my son. So that's, I'm gonna call it, that's my cardio, is chasing him around all day. All right, so a little bit about me when we're not here doing lecture. So how to contact me, as I've said, email. Okay, so just send me an email. My email's posted in 500 different places. You should be able to find it somewhere by now, and you should have it, okay? Again, give me about 24 hours to respond. You'll notice sometimes I do respond late to emails, like after 9-10 p.m. That's because my son is sleeping and I can actually answer my emails then. So I apologize if I do email you later, but don't expect me to be emailing you back at 12 in the morning or 11:30 p.m. I'm probably going to bed by then. So I'll email you when I get the chance, okay? If you haven't heard a response within about 2 days, 48 hours, and if it's the weekend, that doesn't count, then resend it. I might have gotten a lot of emails that day and it kind of got lost. But usually I'm pretty good at answering emails. So if you have any questions, you're always welcome to send them over and I'll respond mostly during the week. As I said, on weekends, I might if I'm not as busy. So just expect you will get a response and don't panic if you don't hear back right away. I'm probably busy running after my son. All right, so when you are here in class and in lecture, try to focus as much as you can. I know when we do online learning, it's so easy to get distracted. You have your phone right there. No one's saying, hey, put away your phone. You might have the TV on in the background. There might be someone running around where you're listening to the lecture. So try to do your best to kind of just be present and be here. Obviously, it is easier to focus in a lecture hall because it's harder to get distracted. But I know it's challenging doing online learning. Okay, it is challenging. There's a lot of distractions and it's very easy to lose focus. So do your best to be present. If I mean, you do miss any parts, something happens, you get distracted, you have to leave your computer for a second, it is recorded. So that's a benefit too. You can always go back and you can listen again if you missed a few slides, okay? So be prepared, come every week, ready to learn, and please participate. It's gonna make everyone's life easier because I really don't want to talk to the wall for 2 hours, okay? So please be prepared to participate, okay? Course textbook. So you could get this textbook from the bookstore. The link is provided below. And I believe you can just go on campus too. The bookstore should be open if you would like to purchase the textbook. This textbook will be used for personal training 1 and 2. It's a great resource to have if you do plan on continuing forward to personal training. So a lot of the content from the lectures will be taken from here. There's some stuff that's not directly from this textbook, but if you do like to read on top of what I'm talking about in the lecture and read like paragraphs of it kind of explaining what I've talked about in the lecture, then I do recommend getting the book. You're probably not going to fail the course if you don't get it, because again, what I mostly talk about in lectures, what you'll get tested on. But if you're a student who likes to read on top of what you're learning, then I do recommend getting the textbook. And as I said, if you plan on going into training in the future, then I do recommend getting it. It's a good resource and tool to have as part of your dusty bookshelf, right? Because I'm sure you guys are reading books all the time, right? And I'm sure you can probably find an online copy as well online. And I'm sure you guys are good at finding things probably cheaper or potentially free. So feel free to go ahead and take a Google search and look for the textbook. You should be able to find it. It doesn't have to be through the bookstore. You can order it even probably through Amazon and some other stores as well. So this is the textbook that we will be using for this course. There's another textbook that is recommended, not required. So again, if this is something that interests you, you're really into training and you want to learn more, then this is another helpful textbook that talks about different techniques for various exercises. So over 70 exercises, you get a lot of information and cueing and technique. So again, not required, but recommended. Question here, would we use the online textbook in person in the lab? No, you wouldn't use it in the lab. We're not going to open the textbook, say everyone go to page 200 in the lab. We won't do that. So again, I'll say which chapter the content is coming from. That means that's the reading for that week. And if you actually look at the course schedule, the readings are listed. So which chapter to read for that week. So that's where the content is coming from, if you are going to read along with the lecture content. Okay. So lectures, as I've said, you're here, you figured it out, you found your way. So we are using Zoom, as I've said already. If for any reason we're getting a lot of technical difficulties, things aren't working, we might switch. But I think it's going to be better than Bongo. So Bongo is like the lowest end. And then we'll see. I do prefer Zoom right now to Teams, but if everyone really loves Teams better, I'll think about it. But we'll stick here with Zoom. It's the same link and the same meeting ID every week. Because the meetings are recurring, then all you have to do is just put the same meeting ID every week. So I do recommend save it somewhere on your computer or sticky note, write it down somewhere as a sticky note on your laptop, so you could easily just access the lecture every week. Whatever works for you to keep you organized. And I believe there might be a way to just put it in your calendar, your online calendar, and you could just have a pop-up, oh, your Zoom meeting is starting in 10 minutes, right? So you could do that as well. I'm pretty sure there's a way to do it through Zoom. Okay. So let's talk about the course outline a little bit. It is posted for you on DC Connect. And if anyone's actually taken a look at it, I'll show you where it is, why it's important, and why should you probably read the course outline. So firstly, what is it? It is our contract together. So this is what you're going to be learning in the course. I can't just start teaching totally different topics of what is in the course outline. And I can't just say, hey, you know what, you're gonna have 3 tests now, you're gonna have 20 quizzes instead of like 10. I can't do that. It is on the course outline, which means that is what is happening for this course. So the course description and the rationale of the course is listed on it. And any questions you might have about course material, anything about evaluations and expectations for the course is on the outline. So before you ask me about anything relating to course material, go read the course outline first, and I'll tell you, go read the course schedule, which I'll explain in a second. So read that first, and if your answer is not there, then you can send me an email and ask me any questions you might have. But I'm very communicative with you guys. I'm going to post announcements every week. I post everything under the weekly content. So you're going to see everything posted. There's no secrets, nothing is hidden. You'll get updates of what's coming up for every week. Okay. So where can you find it? If you go to DC Connect, and I'll show you the main page. Most of you hopefully know where that is, because if you found this link, then you know which page everything will be posted. So it's posted under the personal training main page. I'll show you what that looks like in a second of kind of what you would see on your tab. And it's posted under the course document. So if you just take a look there, click, you'll see the course outline. I will also be posting the lab manual. It's not 100% complete yet. So once it's fully updated for this semester, I will post it and I'll remind you in the announcement saying it's posted. Go take a look. The lab manual includes all the expectations for lab. Okay, so it is important to read because this is your first semester in lab. You should read the lab manual. Okay, so that's also important. Why should you read the course outline? So other than what I've already explained, the course learning outcomes are also there. So what is going to be the final product of taking this course? What are you going to be able to do? And essential employability skills that you will learn while you're taking this course. Okay, so I'm not going to say, oh, today we're working on this essential employability skill. It's just going to happen as you learn through all the content in the course, and the labs will definitely help with a lot of those as well. There's also a few points about different course specific policies and expectations. So that is, you'll see that as well. There's like different bullet points of all the expectations and policies for the course. So as I said, take a look, read it through. You don't have to go through every page of the content, but that is what you're going to see as we go through it every week. But I would definitely read the assessment breakdown and the different information about the policies and expectations, okay? So here is where everything is posted. So you should be able to see this on your DC Connect page. If you go through your course list, you'll see this, and you might also see one separate tab for your lab and then one separate tab for your other lecture section. Don't worry about those. Nothing's going to be posted there. It's going to be blank the whole semester. Everything will be posted here, okay? So all your lab content, all your lecture content is all here. If anyone has any issues accessing this site, let me know, but I do see all your names there, so you should all have access. So this is where you can find your course outline. All the lecture slides will be posted, all your lab information, handouts, updates, and announcements. I'll post weekly announcements. Usually they'll be available every Saturday. I like to just post a little early. Some of you want to kind of get a head start, read on some of the content for the week, kind of skim through your slides. It'll be there a little bit earlier. So I'll do my best to have that ready for you every Saturday. Sometimes what happens, because everything is there just kind of hidden, so I forget to unhide it. So if you want to send me an email, hey Jenna, I don't see anything yet, it's probably because I just have to unhide it for you, because I don't want you to see every week now, right? You're going to be like, whoa, there's a lot to see here. So you'll see 1 week at a time. And again, this is where you'll be able to see all your quizzes and assignments, as we will go through that and talk about that. And all your marks will be through here. Okay, so you should be able to click on grades, and that's where you'll see all your grades for everything that you've completed so far in the course. Okay, email, I think you can email straight through DC Connect if you want to, or if you just open your DC mail, you can just send me an email and type in my email. Okay, so whichever way you like to contact me, so it doesn't matter because it'll still end up in my email if you decide to do it through DC Connect. Okay, anyone have any issues accessing this page? We should all be good. Yeah, main tab would still apply no matter who your lab instructor is. All the same content will be taught in the lab. So the handouts are also posted for you there. So I mentioned in lab that you will see a lab handout for each week. Okay, and for the lab handout, you can print it, as I said, and bring to class, or I'm going to have them in the lab and you can borrow them. You just can't keep them, and you can refer to them as we go through the content in the lab. If you would like to take notes, you can bring a piece of paper and take notes separately, but you can't write on the sheets that are given to you. So if you'd like, I can kind of take you, do you want me to take you through a quick orientation of looking at the DC Connect site? Because you'll see the format looks a little different from professional practices, where everything was just posted as documents. It is more of like an interactive page. It looks prettier. Does anyone need any help to go through that? If you want, I can quickly take you through the page and show you everything. I'll take yes or no. If anyone wants to say yes, then we'll go through it. No one wants to? Sure. Okay, Jordan. Sure it is. Okay, so let me pull up my screen here. Let me go to your view because you don't need to see what I see. So just give me 1 sec. I'll pull it up. I just want to show you how to navigate the content each week. It won't take very long. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so you should see this. Are we good? You can see it. I'll take a yes, just so I know you're good. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Pablo. Okay, so you'll get to your home page, and this is what you see. So you'll see all the announcements posted on the first page. You should see, once you start having quizzes, work to do. So you should see like when you have a quiz due at the top here. We'll find out after next week when you have your first quiz. So you go to content. you'll see everything is going to be posted under content. So you have your course documents, which you have your course outline. And as I said, the lab manual will also be posted for you. Course schedule is important. I'm going to just quickly take you through it. So this is something, if you want to print it, you might want to start saving all these dates into your calendar. This is the due dates of all your quizzes. I'll still send you reminders. I'll post announcements and you'll see when they're due. Okay, 2.5% each quiz. So we do have quizzes for each lab. You'll see 2 of the quizzes cover 2 weeks of content. So you kind of have a break in between. But then after quiz 3, you'll just have a quiz on each lab. And so you'll have 8 of these, 2.5% each. You're going to have this small in-process lab assignment. The whole purpose of this assignment here is to help teach you some different equipment that we don't have in the lab. So that's the purpose of this one, and we'll go through that as we get closer to that date. Okay, you'll have 2 tests in this course, an assignment, you'll get all the information, and your final practical. And as I've mentioned, this is going to be during the final exam period. You will be given a date and all the information will be provided. As I've mentioned, or I mentioned in the last class, if you are booking flights to go back home in December, please ask before you book, okay? So please make sure that you always ask, because we've had students who had flights booked the day of their practical, and then what, right? So make sure there's a date at the end of the exam period where that's where you're safe and that's where school's officially done. But ask, okay? So I just see a question here. The test will be during class time. Good question. So the test will actually be open for the week. So it'll be open on a Monday and due by the Friday of that week. So you'll have any time that you want to do it. You're very lucky that it's online, which means it's open book. So you'll have your 2 tests in that format. So you can write it any time during the week, but it'll always be due on the Friday, not the Sunday. All the quizzes will be due on a Sunday. Okay, so I'll give you all the information as we get closer to the date. It's going to be the same regardless of which section you are in, because we won't have a lecture the day of your test. It's going to just be Monday to Friday. Anytime you want, write the test. So you're not really at a disadvantage being on a Friday. It's one day and it's not like you have less time to study or anything like that. Okay. So all the details here of what we go through every week is posted. So I do recommend taking a look at the course schedule. I'm not going to go through all the dates right now. A reminder, we have reading week, October 25th week, and then we end basically December 17th. Seems a little late this year, but that's the end. And so December 17th is when your final test is due. And then most likely your final practical will be that, usually it's the weekend. I'm not making promises, but it might be that Saturday, Sunday, or potentially the Monday after that last class. Okay, so please make sure, as I said, don't book flights yet. The latest date, good question. I don't know. Usually we've had it on a Saturday, and I don't remember the last exact day of the exam period. But most likely it'll be the 18th, 19th, or 20th. Like, it should be on the weekend. That's usually when it is. I know it sucks. It's a Saturday, but you literally have to just come for like an hour and then that's it. It's not a full day for you, full day for me, but not for you. All the details will be provided. Do not worry. Okay. All your quizzes you'll see here. So this is where you can access all your lab quizzes, 10 questions each lab. Not that difficult. Doesn't take you that long to do. I do recommend having the lab handout handy. Perhaps it might cover content from the lab handout, but if you've come to lab, this will be easy for you. You probably don't even have to refer much to your handout. You'll see your in-process assignment will be done through here. There's some just questions about the equipment that you'll learn. And then your tests as well will be under quizzes. Your grades, you'll be able to see your grades here. Okay, all your quiz grades and everything like that. What else? Assignment will be posted. And that's pretty much it from my end. And I believe you will have a discussion post next week. It's going to come, but just a quick discussion. Okay, any questions about accessing the content here? Now let's hope I can find. my slides again. Okay, if I stop sharing, what happens? I lost it. Okay. Lab handout. Oh, okay, yeah, good question. Let's go back quickly because I didn't really go far. Okay, so let's look at an example. Lab 1. Now, good question. There's no worksheets for this week. So let me unhide next week for you. Let me do that. Okay, because then you'll actually see what the content looks like. Okay, give me a sec. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, so you will be able to see week 2 now, and you'll see what I'm talking about as you look through it here. Okay, let's share my screen again. Okay, so you should see this. No form for next week. That's not my lab. That might be fitness assessment lab. Okay, so if you go to content, now you will see week 2. So every week it'll look like this. You're gonna have a lecture tab and a content tab. So the overview is just gonna kind of show you, here's the expectations for this week, some reminders for your assessment. So you'll get a reminder of what is due that week. You'll see the reading. So what pages you need to read in the textbook for that week, if you're going to read the textbook. And then you go to the lecture tab. If you go to the lecture tab, you're going to see the slides here. Okay, and you can click to download the slides, and that's not working, but you should be able to click here and you will be able to download the slides. Click to access the meeting. I'm going to have that every week. It's the same thing though. So if you just kind of get lost or whatever, just click here and you can access the meeting this way. There's going to be some videos some weeks to watch. So these you would watch on your own time, some homework. And then sometimes you're going to have like another activity. So next week, you're going to have a little bit of an activity we'll talk about after we finish our lecture. And then we will have a Kahoot. Usually at the end of class, we will try and do it together. And then it'll be there for you to play on your own if you want to practice. Then you go to the next tab, which is the lab page. We'll tell you what you're going to do for lab. So all the information is here. Lab handout. So you're always going to see this every week, and you just click to download and it will download the PDF for you. Okay. Then here's some videos for you to watch as well to help you prepare for lab. If you want to watch before your lab, because your labs are on Thursday, you have time. I do recommend watching the videos before lab. Again, we're not going to watch them live in lab or quiz or before lecture, sorry. And then you might have a practice activity at the end, but there's no Kahoot for the lab as well. Just you might have a practice activity for the lab, but then you will have a quiz. Athlete next. Yes, some videos are good. He's pretty good. Quiz, yes, you're going to have a quiz after next week's lab. So again, go look at the course schedule, look at all the dates, put them in your calendar. You'll see the first one is due at the end of next week. You'll have one attempt at the quiz, one attempt. It's open book, so pretty straightforward there, okay? So that's next week's content, and then you will go to the last page, which is a summary, and it's going to tell you kind of summary of that week and what to expect for next week. Okay, so that's how each week will be set up. You'll have an introduction page, you will have a lecture page, a lab page, and then you will have a summary and what to expect for next week in the lab and lecture. Any questions now about that? I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay, so far so good. Awesome. Okay, so I went through this already. Again, you're going to have those quizzes. So that's your in-process ongoing lab evaluation, 2.5% each, most of the quizzes. And then that one in process, that's 5%. 2 tests, 15% each. Test 2, I'm going to tell you right now, it is cumulative, which means everything you've learned in the whole course will be on that test. It'll be more heavily weighted to the second half of the course. However, the problem is a lot of this stuff builds on a lot of the content builds on itself, right? So whatever you learn at the beginning is still going to be important for the end. So you can't just say course is split in half. So it's kind of all building on itself, and that's why it is going to be cumulative. But as I said, more heavier emphasis on second half of the semester. All the information will be given to you. Assignment, we'll be going through that in the lectures as we go on. And that's it. You have a final practical. I'll tell you right now for the practical, if you do not pass your final practical evaluation, you will fail the course, okay? Even though you might have done really great on your tests and quizzes, if you get to your practical and we don't think that you are comfortable or confident to train a client safely, and again, based on the criteria, which we'll go through, you have rubric criteria, you will fail the course because this could put a future client at risk of getting hurt or something happening because you don't know what you're doing, right? So that's why we put that emphasis on the final practical, that if you fail the practical, you fail the course, okay?
I'm good at Vikram.
Okay. All right, so as I went through already, the course schedule, please go through that. Everything is posted. Do not ask me about dates. Everything is there. So if I get an email, when is this due? Go look at the course schedule. I'm going to tell you that. Okay, so please, I do recommend to get a calendar if you like writing it out, or put it all in your phone or a calendar on your computer, and keep up to date with all the due dates, because it's going to get busy with all the courses at the same time. So lab procedures, most of you I had, and so some of you I think might be in a Tuesday lab as well. Anyone can you just say like or yes that I haven't been to the lab yet, or like no, I haven't been to the lab, whatever, just because okay, so some of you haven't been. Okay, so I apologize for those of you who have been in the lab already. And I know Tuesday, that's the Tuesday labs, probably because there was no school Tuesday. So I'll go through some of the lab procedures right now. And if you were in the lab already, great. You can just chillax and scroll through some Instagram for 5 minutes here, if you know. And if you forgot, then you can listen. So lab procedures, when you come to lab next week, it's pretty easy to get onto campus. There's no lineups. It's not like you have to wait in line to, just show your phone that you can go on campus. So that's a good thing. I thought it would be much busier than it is. So for the lab procedures, when you get to the G wing, okay, so the hallway, you're going to wait there before the lab begins. And some of you might have fitness assessment prior to personal training lab. So you'll be coming straight from there, and you can just wait in the hallway until we start letting you in. So before you come into the lab, you're going to be placing your bags in the room right beside G110, which is G112 or G112, however you want to say it, but it's right beside, and it's a very small room with like coat hooks and some shoe trays, but you can put your coats in your bags in there, and we will lock the door. So if you do have your phone in there or wallet or anything like that, we will lock the door for the lab. So please be on time, because we will lock it right when lab starts. So if you're late, then you miss the boat on getting in. So just please be on time. Okay, I know some of you are coming from further away, but do your best to be on time. And again, most of you are already on campus if you are with me probably at the 12 o'clock lab on Tuesdays or Thursdays. So when you come, all you really need to bring is your face shield, which you will be given one. Hand sanitizer, we were giving them out last year, but you're not going to get one. So this year, which is not a big deal. Most people didn't actually use it because we have hand sanitizer in the lab. So don't panic about that point there. Just the face shield is important. You should be wearing your uniform, which we'll talk about. Don't panic if you haven't gotten it yet. We'll get it. And you will get a lacrosse ball. If you don't get it before your lab next week, the world is not over. Don't worry, we will let you borrow one. Okay, we'll clean them and everything like that. But you can't borrow from your classmates if you forgot it and if you didn't get it yet. Now, usually you would have your lacrosse balls by now, but because again, this is your first time on campus, you haven't received them yet. So you will get them. and we will use them next week. So if you do get it for the lab, great. If not, we will let you borrow some. Okay, so you're gonna wait in the hallway. Please try to social distance in the hallway. And another important point that I want to bring up as well is that while you're in the hallway, you need to have your mask on. Just because you're not in the lab doesn't mean you can just take off your mask, okay? The campus policy is to have your mask on at all times. A problem we had last semester, back in the winter term, students would just hang out in the hallway without their mask on. That's not acceptable. If let's say the dean walks by and they see that our students, fitness and health promotion students, are not wearing their mask, we get in trouble. And then we might not be able to run our labs. So please, the least you could do if you're on campus, I think it's only like 4 hours, just wear your mask. And then once you leave, you can take it off. So please make sure you're wearing it. So once you put your bags in the room, we'll do like 2 at a time in the room. It's not big. Then we'll instruct you to come in the lab. You're going to sanitize, take off your mask, put on a new mask. We will provide you with a new mask. I know you probably got a new mask from the lab that you might have had prior. That's okay. You're going to get another new one. Doesn't hurt. Okay. That's just the procedure. All right. And then you have to wear your face shield because we're technically doing light to moderate exercise. I'm going to say very, very light. It's not even moderate, but that is the policy. Okay. If it falls off at any time, if you're doing some exercise where you're lying down, sometimes it falls off. Don't worry, I'm not going to yell at you to say, hey, you need your face shield on or you're getting kicked out. Just put it back on. That's it. If it falls off, put it back on. Try to take good care of it. You might want to protect it in a shirt or something because the shield part does get scratched. You will come and reuse it every week. So I do recommend to kind of just take a little bit of a good care of it because they will get scratched. And when you put them on, you can't really see much. So I do recommend to take a little bit of good care of your face shield. So I will be taking attendance at the beginning of each lab. It's not worth marks. If you're unable to attend a lab for any reason, I would just send me an email. Let me know why you're not there that week because I might start to worry if you're not there 2 weeks in a row. Are you skipping or something's wrong, right? So just tell me, I'm not able to come this week, but unfortunately the labs are not recorded and you won't be able to make them up. Okay, so that's where it's your responsibility to do your best to make up on the missed content. So you can ask a friend, a classmate, someone to help you to go through the content together. You will have opportunity to practice content in future labs. So you might want to use your time that you're given to practice what you missed and try out the exercises you missed. A lot of the stretches that we do go through, you can do on your own. And so we're going to be going through some different dynamic and static stretches. You would be able to practice at home on your own as well. So again, if you miss, then you can do it on your own. And all of the information is in the lab handout. So you definitely want to refer back to that. You will be working with the same partner throughout the semester. So those of you in the Tuesday section, I will make sure I find out who your partner is. And so you might want to decide who you're working with if you haven't already, or you're going to probably figure out when you come to campus next week. And those of you who have had lab already, you know who your partner is, and that's who you're going to be working with throughout the semester, okay? So inside the lab, once you are in the lab, you sanitize your hands, you put on a new mask, you're going to be with your partner and try to stay spread out, okay? Again, if someone walks by and sees that we are too close together, we get in trouble. So please just maintain your distance between you and your classmates. And that's important. And again, we are going to make sure we're cleaning the machines too. So once we start using the machines, you're going to wipe it down before you use it, and you're going to wipe it down after you use it. Okay. Even though you're working with your partner, please wipe it down. We will have spray bottles and wipes to wipe, and eventually we are going to hopefully get the wipes that we use on the equipment in stock. We're empty right now, but we will use those as well. So don't worry, I'll let you know what to use for that week. You can take washroom breaks. So if you have to run to the washroom, just say, hey, Jen, I got to go to the washroom. Go ahead. You can go. I'm not locking you in the room for 2 hours. Okay. If you do want to also bring a water bottle, you can. Just make sure it's not in a glass container. You can just leave it to the side. And if you need to take a drink of water, go ahead to the side and quickly take a drink. Okay. Typically what happens when we go through the lab content, I'll go through it first, and then you will have time to practice. If you do not want to use the practice time, you're like, oh, this is easy, I know how to do this already. Most people take the time, I'll tell you that. But if you feel like, you're good with it and you're just starting to fool around, then you can just leave. Okay, we'll open the door, lock it back up, you can leave. You don't have to stay if you're going to just play around. But I think most of you will appreciate the time that you're given to practice as well. Okay. When leaving the lab, we'll leave one at a time instructed by us, and then we'll unlock the door and you can grab your stuff and you can go. And then you'll sanitize your hands before you leave as well. That's pretty much it. The hand sanitizer you're not going to get, so that doesn't apply to this semester. And you only have a final practical, so you do need to attend that. So if you decide, I don't want to come to lab, I don't care, it's your problem, but you're probably going to be at risk of failing the course, because usually students who do not come to lab will end up failing because they don't know what's going on, okay? When you come, please arrive on time. Again, if you're the first lab, if it's your first lab of the day, then please come on time. Give yourself that time to get to the G-Wing, right? So wherever you're parking or taking the bus, give yourself that extra time, okay? If you're really late, then we might not let you in. Wearing your uniform, some of you have already gotten it, great, so please wear it next week. If you haven't gotten your uniform, you will get them next week, okay? So don't worry about that. Yes, you can bring water, you can't eat in the lab, okay? You're only there for 4 hours. We've had students, in the lab like all day. They're there for 8 hours, they have a break in between, or they don't have a break for some of their labs, and then obviously you get hungry, you can't eat in the lab, you can go eat out in the hallway. Please be professional at all times. This is important as you start to think about future field placement opportunities, because you do get another field placement in the winter term. And, if you're not behaving in the lab, you're not following instructions, you're not listening to your lab instructors, then this can be carried over to the field placement advisors, and you might not be able to get a field placement where you want. So please make sure that you are professional and respectful at all times. And I think most of you are good at that. And I think you're just grateful to be on campus. And I hope you are, because I am happy we're finally in person again. That is that point. Please ask questions at any time. You're always welcome to ask questions, whether it's in lecture or the lab. Feel free to just always ask. I'll always answer your questions. Appreciate feedback as well. So you will be given feedback as you're practicing different exercises throughout the course, and the instructors will be giving you feedback. So please take that feedback and take it all as a learning experience, because I'd rather you make the mistakes in the lab than make the mistakes when you are actually working with a real client one-on-one, right? So I hope you do appreciate the feedback that we give you. We're only trying to help you to improve and be successful when you are done the program, and successful in your field placement. And then considering that potentially you could get a job out of your field placement. So that's something to consider. So it is important to always take advice and feedback. So lab manual will be posted, as I've said already. Again, we went through this. So here's all the due dates for your quizzes. Okay, so please put them in your calendar. So I know you can see it doesn't line up exactly. And if I can annotate, I can try. It won't let me probably do it with this. Anyways, you'll see the first line is obviously going to be for lab 1. So your first quiz will be due on the 19th, okay? By 11:59. It'll be open the Monday, and you have till Sunday. So I know your lab is not till maybe Tuesday or Thursday. I recommend doing it after your lab. While the content is fresh, if you want to just stay on campus, for an extra 20, 30 minutes with a classmate, sit on your computer or whatever you're going to use, probably a computer would be your best idea. And then just do the quiz quickly after lab. 10 questions won't take you long while the content is fresh. That's my recommendation to you. If you want to do it another time, you can, as long as you complete it by the due date. I'm not going to give extensions. You have a whole week to do it. Okay, so you have lots of time. So for your assignment, when you have your assignment in this course, same policies as before. If it is late, you will lose 10% per day late, up to 5 days late, or it won't be accepted. Okay, and so this includes weekends as well, per day late. Okay, so please make sure you're submitting on time. If you have any issues or anything, just send me an email and we will work it out. Okay, if you miss a test, again, you have 5 days to do your test. It's not like, oh, you only can write it on Friday from 12 to 2. You have a whole week to figure out when you're going to write it. So please make sure, as I said, to complete your content on time. So if there's anything that happens, just send me an email. When in doubt, just send me an email if you're unable to do your test for some reason that week. But most people are pretty good. I haven't had many issues because you are given the whole week to do it. You can kind of plan your time wisely, okay? Another thing is, well, this applies mostly to your assignment for this course, is plagiarism and academic dishonesty, okay? So you've probably heard about this already. This is not your first semester, but there's no tolerance for plagiarism. There's cheating on tests. You're probably cheating because you're looking at your notes and it's technically not cheating because we're allowing it, right? So it's really more for your assignment and plagiarism. So either copying and pasting from another source or copying and pasting from your classmates, right? There's no tolerance for that. If you do find plagiarism, then you'll get a notice, academic notice, and then this will go to the dean and this will be put in your file. Okay, and if you plagiarize more than once, you will probably be kicked out of the program. So please, please, please do not plagiarize. And you will receive a 0 on the assignment as well. That's another thing, which you don't want any consequences, and there's no point to ruin your academic career when you're almost there. Okay, there is the program guide, which you should have had given to you in a previous course if you're not sure, but all the policies are there, and you can even go on the Durham College website to see all the policies. Okay, so any questions about the content before I move on now into kind of the introduction of the course? And I'll take a thumbs up if you're good. If you don't have questions, thumbs up, we're good. All right. Okay, so most of you seem like you're good. Again, I try to go through everything in as much detail as possible so we don't have too many questions. So great, I'm glad we are good so far. So let's continue now into the content. And if you have a question come up, you're always welcome, just type it in the chat. So we'll talk about with this course. So again, you have personal training 1, personal training 2. The whole purpose of these courses is to help prepare you to be able to train a client, and also to prepare you to create a program for a client, right? So in essence, it is exercise prescription, right? So can you prescribe exercises to a client, and how do you do that? And not only resistance training, even aerobic training, which we'll go through in this course. And then how can we now execute? So the lecture is going to be more focused on program design and creating a safe exercise program for a client, and more of a beginner program. We're not looking at working with elite athletes in this program, more just creating a program for standard general population. Okay, and most people that you'll probably see at your field placements. And then the second half, which is in the lab, is now learning the exercises and how to take a client safely through them. So yeah, great, you've created your program. Now can you execute it? Can you show your client how to do these exercises, how to do it safely? Can you cue them appropriately? Do you know what it looks like to do it properly? Do you know what it'll look like if they're not doing it correctly? How do you fix that? So that's kind of what we're going to be going through, and how to create like a well-balanced program and execute it. So that's kind of an overarching summary of this course, and even into personal training too. So if you do plan on getting your CSEP CPT, the scope of practice is posted for you on DC Connect under the week 1 content. Okay. And if you do plan on getting your CSEP CPT, there are basically requirements of what you can do and what you can't do as a CPT. Okay. And so you can see, what do you need to get it? Well, your program, basically, once you're done the fitness and health promotion program, you can become a CSEP CPT. So basically, as a CSEP CPT, you can create programs for clients, you can pre-screen them, you can do fitness assessments on them, and then create, design, and implement programs for general healthy population. Okay, so you're not really working with like high at-risk populations. Again, if you have a lot of experience doing that, you might feel comfortable to, but it really depends on the client. I'm going to say it really depends on who you're working with, and what the condition is, right? Is it just type 2 diabetes? Okay, is the client managing it? Are they technically high risk? Do they have other comorbidities or other diseases with their diabetes? If they do, you might not be able to work with them. Okay, but you want to make sure, and so we're looking at this point here. Can you see my mouse when I scroll here? Can you see that? Like, can you see the mouse moving? No? No? Okay. I think it depends on what my screen is. Okay, no problem, not a big deal. But anyways, the last point here about as a CPT. So you need to recognize your own area of expertise and refer clients who fall outside your expertise to a CSEP CEP. So CSEP CEP can work with higher risk populations and more complex issues, or a physician if necessary, or another appropriate healthcare provider. Okay, so you recognize that, hey, you know what, I'm not comfortable to work with this client. I don't feel that my knowledge and experience is enough to work with this client. I don't feel comfortable doing it. So I'm going to refer out. And whether it's to a CSEP CEP, or maybe you're like, you know what, I think this client needs to go see their doctor first, right? If you feel that you're not comfortable working with them. Okay, so that's something that you need to realize if you do decide to work as a personal trainer. Now, what can you not do? Well, you cannot do maximal programs of aerobic or anaerobic effort. So you can't get clients to go as hard as they can till like they're puking, basically. We'll go there. And then you cannot assess 1 rep max, okay, for anyone, okay, or use loads greater than 90% of the predicted 1 rep max. So you're not allowed as a CPT, okay? You can't use an ECG as well, which is an electrocardiogram where you put all the leads on the chest and it checks the person's heart rhythm. You are not qualified to do that. And then you cannot administer fitness assessments or design and implement programs for populations with unstable medical conditions or more than one medical condition. Or if, again, you're just not comfortable and you don't have the experience working with that person. So unstable means that, let's say that whenever they exercise, they get angina, okay? And, they don't know what causes it. They haven't really seen the doctor, for example, and angina is chest pain. So that's not stable. And if they haven't seen their doctor and addressed it, then they need to go, right? And so that's not your responsibility to say, yeah, don't worry, you'll be fine. Just a little chest pain. Probably not a good idea to do that. Now, what CSEP has as well, which you can get, it is a separate certification from your CPT. So you just write another test, pay more money, write another test, which is the high performance specialization, as you see at the bottom. So this certificate on top of your CPT allows you to use the maximal assessment protocols. So that is the 1RM, okay? So doing 1RM or doing any maximal testing, you can if you've done this high performance specialization certificate. So there's no practical component to this. It is just doing another online test, basically, and then you have to pay for it. But it adds on to your CPT where you could work with different populations and do these tests. I see, Sana, you have a question.
Yes, Professor. I just have a question that is it just one exam that we have to do and then we can work as a personal trainer?
Yep. So once you are done your fitness and health promotion diploma, you will probably be given the opportunity and you'll get emails and near the end of the program. So probably March-ish, something like that, or maybe earlier if possible, where you will be told that, okay, if whoever wants to do their CPT, there's sometimes a review opportunity. And then you will basically do a practical and then an online test. So you'll have 2 components to be doing your CPT. So usually a handful of students every year decide to get it. And then that's the process that you would follow. And then you have to pay another fee basically to do the test and your practical assessment.
And it will be done in college?
Sometimes it depends who's administering it. If, let's say, the date and time doesn't work for you, you'll see on the CSEP website that there's different places that offer to do the practical. The online would be at home. So it's just the practical. Usually it's at Durham College, usually.
Okay,
Is
thank
the
you so much.
diploma mandatory to complete it? Yes, you'll need the fitness and health promotion program to do the CPT certification. You can't just do this outside of high school, basically. You can't just say, hey, yeah, I want to get my CPT. Good questions. Any other questions? Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. So the other certification I mentioned was OFC, which is the Ontario Fitness Council. So if you are interested in teaching group exercise classes like boot camp, in general, like if you want to work as a circuits class, like a spin class instructor, something like that, you might need a specific one for that. There is a specific one, but let's say just like boot camp and just general fitness, then this is a certification that you could look into as well. So if you take a look and click the link, let's I'll quickly just bring you to the page here. If I can find it. Okay, you just give me 1 second here. I have like way too many tabs open, so I have to find it. Okay, this should work. You see that. You should be able to see this. So this is the OFC website, so feel free to go ahead and take a look. But you'll see that there's different levels for this one. So whether you have a university degree or a college diploma, that will kind of put you at a different level. And so it's not a big fee for this one. Let me just find practice here. Is it this one? So you'll see that there's different types. So if you want to be a resistance trainer, if you want to be group exercise, aquatic fitness, personal trainer. And the main purpose of these certifications is providing you with insurance. If something were to happen, you're insured under these certifications, and that will protect you in case anything happens. And then some organizations, depending where you are looking for work, will use this as kind of your certificate of showing, okay, yeah, you can teach group exercise classes. So you'll see that there's kind of different options here for what you're kind of looking at doing. Okay, so feel free to kind of go through the website. I'm not going to go through it in a lot of detail, but it is an option if you are looking to teach classes. So you might want both. I have this one as well, and you'll know that CanFit Pro is more of a money grab. So this is a cheaper version that doesn't require you to do credits and all that all the time. But the CSEP, you have to do continuing education credits, just so you know. All right, so that's just a little bit about the OFC, if that's something that interests you. I don't know if it was brought to your attention in like the group fitness class or fitness class leadership. Usually they do mention that one, and you could receive it in that, or not from that course specifically, but they mentioned that you can receive that OFC certification to teach classes. So, if you have questions about any of those, let me know. Yes, Santa, go for it before I move on.
Professor, I just have a question that after doing the fitness and health promotion diploma, are there any good opportunities to work as in the field of fitness and health, or we should go for this more certifications like CPT and all? The like you said, you just told a few minutes ago. So I'm just curious to know that if there are good opportunities after by like doing only the diploma, or then we should pursue something else.
Yeah, so good question. I would have the certification on top of your diploma, because that is, again, your insurance that protects you if anything happens, and again keeps you up to date and shows that basically you're qualified and you're doing continuing education. So most gyms will say that you need like a college diploma or whatever, plus you need this certification, so CSEP, CPT. Some of them are taking other ones. It depends which gym. So again, if you're looking at more of, let's say, a community center, they might be looking at more certifications, where some gyms are so desperate, they'll just take you with just the diploma and kind of train you and give you like insurance through them. So it depends where you want to work. So you would have to look into that and see what the requirements are. And I know for some of you who are taking professional practices and looking up job postings, you would see some of the requirements. Some places don't require much, and then some require a lot. So it depends.
The question, because I'm asking this because there was one posting and they were only requiring a CPR certificate and just a diploma, and then there were some postings where it was like there were like many certifications which were needed. So I was just confused, like, so I just thought maybe I can just ask you.
Yeah, it depends on the gym. It depends on where you plan on working. So some places will require more than others. It depends, because again, it's private. So people can just say, hey, yeah, I'll train you with my methods and you can work under me, and that's it, right? So again, I take a look at where, and you can tell me like the place of where it was. Usually a lot of the private gyms, it depends. They don't need much. They'll train you, right? So it depends. But honestly, when I was in the industry, like when I was working like 10 years ago, it was more strict with needing a CSEP CPT, and that was like the gold standard. But now, because there's so many gyms and there's so many different organizations running different, like let's say F45 or Orange Theory Fitness, for example, is another example where they train you on their methods, and so they don't really require the certifications that you might need for some other places. So some places are kind of just lowering their standards, which is going to lower the standard of the fitness industry as well, because you do need definitely a good understanding of the human body and exercise prescription and all that to be able to work with a client, right? You can't just, yeah, I'll figure it out, right? So it depends on the location where you're looking to work. So that's why you're confused, because not every gym is going to need the same qualifications, and it depends what they're looking for. It doesn't hurt to have it, right? If you do want to work, in a place that maybe works with more high risk population, then you might want to get your CPT, because then that will further qualify you to do that.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so let's look at the Part Q Plus. And so you might have heard about this form already. Does anyone know what the Part Q Plus is for? What is the purpose of it? Anyone see this form before? Have you filled it out or looked at it? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, doesn't it stand for physical active something questionnaire?
It's right on the slide.
Oh shoot, my bad. I didn't see that.
That's okay. Yeah, so physical activity readiness questionnaire for everyone. Yeah, so it's basically a pre-assessment, or as Dylan has said here, but basically just to see if anyone is at risk. So is there any contraindications to exercise here? So you'll see some questions that the client can answer yes or no to. The full form is posted for you on DC Connect, and it's also at the bottom. So if you do plan on, let's say, running your own business one day, you're going to have to use some form of an intake form to make sure that you're screening your client before they start exercising or even doing a fitness assessment. So this is an option of a form that you could just print out, the client would fill. So again, this is to see, do they have any medical conditions or anything that could basically put them at risk for when they exercise. Okay, so that's what it's for, which is great. And so your comments were correct. And so this is a 4-page document. If they check yes to one or more of the questions on the first page, then they would go to the next 2 pages, go to the follow-up questions. And if they check no to the rest, then they are probably clear to go. If they do check yes on the follow-up pages, then they're probably going to need to be referred to a physician. So feel free to take a look through that. You're probably going to learn more about it in fitness assessment, but this is important as a screening tool for clients before they start an exercise program, and as well as a fitness assessment, which is before the program, right? And does anyone know how long it's good for? So once someone fills it out, how long is it good for? Correct, Katie. Yeah, it's lasts for a year. So it's valid for a year. And so that's why most gyms will, if you've been a member of a gym for a long time, they usually get you to fill out a form every year. If they're not doing it properly. But if the client's condition changes at any time within that year, they should be notifying you. Okay. So usually it's valid for a year. The client would fill it out again every year. Okay, and they need, that's their responsibility to notify you if anything changes to their condition. Okay, so again, feel free to take a look at the full document on DC Connect. You might be looking at it in fitness assessment. It depends what questionnaires they're looking at in fitness assessment, but it's a tool that you can use. Okay, it's not the only form that you can use. You'll see some gyms have their own, and it's not the exact same. They just call it their own thing, and it's not the exact same form. So it depends on where you are going to work out. There is another form here called the Get Active questionnaire. Very similar to the PAR-Q Plus. Why are there two? What's going on here? So basically, they're developed by two different kind of groups of people. So CSEP used to use the PAR-Q Plus, and a few years ago, they now changed it over to the Get Active questionnaire. And the PAR-Q Plus is now kind of still being not developed, but kind of just updated. You'll see there's a 2021 version. So every year there's a new updated version, not much changes, but by a different group of people. And then CSEP, the organization, has their own. Again, they used to use the PAR-Q, but now they've developed this Get Active questionnaire. Very similar. It's 2 pages, not 4 pages. Feel free, again, click on the link in the DC Connect page to open it up. Take a look at it, because this is another form that you could use. You don't need to use both, just one or the other is fine. And with the Get Active questionnaire, so if a client does check yes, there's no follow-up questions for them. It's your responsibility once you see a yes. There's a separate document called a reference document, where you will then take a look at that and see, is that client at risk for anything to happen, and are they okay to exercise? So that's kind of like a document you refer to, and then you make that decision. If you feel that they do need to be referred, they will be referred to a registered health professional. Okay, so the idea here with the Get Active questionnaire is to reduce the amount of referrals to a physician. So let's say a client has a knee injury. They're getting treated by a physiotherapist. Why do they need to go to their family doctor to get clearance to exercise? Why not the physiotherapist who's actually treating them? Can't they just sign the form, right? So it used to always be, go see your doctor, go see your family doctor. But now it's okay if the allied health professional, anyone who's treating the client, can sign this form. So it doesn't make sense, as I said, to see family doctor for something they're not treating. So it really depends on the situation of the client, okay? And then on the back of this page, and again, I recommend opening the document. Again, this is not fitness assessment course, so I'm not going to go through in as much detail. On the back is a few questions on how active the client currently is, like how many days a week are you active, how long, and I forget there. No, those are the two. And then you basically calculate the amount of activity that you do every week, and it should total 150 minutes, right? And so if it's less, you can see the client might not be enough participating in enough physical activity, and kind of just giving you an idea of how active they currently are. Okay, and so that's new. The PAR-Q Plus doesn't have that. So there are differences to the forms, but both are great tools. You can choose whichever one you feel more comfortable to use. If you're working at a gym or a clinic, they will probably have their own intake form and their own version, which should be very similar to these and very similar questions, or more specific. It might be longer form with a lot more questions. And some of you might be doing placement of physiotherapy clinic. So again, intake forms will be a little bit different than this. This is not the exact same, okay? So let's have a little bit of a discussion. This part of this lecture is a lot more fun in person, but we'll do our best here with the circumstances here. So take a look at this image and see what you think you do, what your mother thinks you do, what society thinks you do as a personal trainer, what your clients think you do, what you think you do, but what you really do, okay? You can see that a lot of clients end up talking about their life to you. And this is true. I've had clients where some sessions, they just want to talk, and like they're just doing light exercise and they just want to talk to you. And that's okay. Again, your role is not to be a psychiatrist. Okay, that's not your job. But if you do think that, a client does need someone to talk to, then you could, recommend and refer them out to a psychiatrist or someone to talk to, right? But there is a relationship that you do build with your clients. You do get to know each other. They get to know you. You get to know them. So it's not just always strictly just, okay, so here's the exercise today. Okay, this is what you're going to do. Hey, sometimes it is. That makes your life easier. But sometimes, you know, people, we all go through things in life, right? And so people will vent to you because they trust you. If they have been working with you for many years, they will trust you and find that they will come to you to talk about their personal life. So it's also important to understand in your side, right? You might want to talk to someone too, right? But you also need to be careful because you're the professional of what you say to the client. The problem is, you know, if you say too much, people speak. And then the client goes and tells your boss something, and then the boss finds something out about you, and then you could get in trouble or something like that because you might have said the wrong thing. So you just have to be careful of the barriers, right? You don't want to be crossing too many barriers as a trainer where you're going way beyond your scope of practice, right? You're not trying to, you know, help people with their personal problems. I mean, you can give advice, but if you do feel that they need professional help, that's something that you can refer to. As well, for diet advice, you can only give so much advice, right? You're not giving a full meal plan. That's not what your certification or what this program is teaching you to do. That's going to be separate. So it is important to kind of just think about what your role is as a personal trainer, right? Your goal is to get a client to achieve their goals and, you know, achieve optimal health and fitness. And again, we know that health and fitness is not just, yeah, I work out, right? Full spectrum, right? Social aspects. We have, you know, the exercise component. We have diet. We have stress management. We have sleep, right? There's a lot of components here that do contribute to our health, right? So there is a video. It is posted for you on DC Connective. It is quite funny if you want to take the time to watch it, of what personal trainers, what we think they do. Or it's different types of personal trainers that you might see at the gym. So if you want, we do have time at the end of class. We can take a look at it. But for purposes, let's just continue and you can take a look on your own time. All right, so here's where this is more fun in person. We'll try this out in the lab next week, okay? We'll probably have some time at the end. And I want to try it at the end of lab versus now because it's just not gonna work very well virtually because someone's gonna have to exercise if you do it this way. So the idea is for this activity is to basically guide someone through an exercise without demonstrating. Sounds easy, might sound easy, but it's really not. Where this kind of gives you kind of a fundamental idea of how well you are with your cueing. So for example, let's say, you know, you're with a partner and I said, okay, can you cue your client through a squat without actually demonstrating it? All through words. And so this really works on your communication skills, right? And being able to explain how to perform the exercise without actually doing it. So we're going to probably try that in the lab, and we'll be doing that throughout the course as well, is really practice and work on our cueing. Because I think that is something that most students are not the most proficient at. And, you know, there might be some really important cues, I'm just like little few tips and tricks to say that might actually help a client, okay? So we'll try that. And the other thing too that's important is, let's say you weren't feeling well one day or you were injured, right? Then how are you going to train your clients, right? If you're so used to saying, okay, copy me, then can you do it without having to do it yourself and just practicing your cueing? So that's a skill, again, that does take time to develop, and we'll be working on that throughout the semester and as we go into the winter term as well. And then we'll go through kind of what challenges you had, okay? So we'll do that in the lab. So question for you, and where's my slide? I had another slide. Where is it? No, is it gone? I had a question. This is where I wanted, yeah, okay, it disappeared. Okay, I had a question of what are good characteristics of a personal trainer? Here's where I wanted to use the Kahoot. So I want to try it with you. If you have your phone close by, you'll have to put in the code, just like if you've done a Kahoot before. So let me open it. I want to see how this works. We're going to create a word cloud together. So let's see. Oh, that's not the right one. this one. Can you see this? Is that the right? Can you see that? No? Okay. No, wrong one. I have way too many tabs, as I said. Okay. I want one tab. Aha. Okay, you should see that now. Okay. So try this out. Let's try. So you'll see the question as you open it here. Once we started. You might as well download the Kahoot app because we'll be using it quite a bit. And I'm assuming you've used Kahoot before, right? Okay. Maybe a couple more minutes here to join in. Okay. So it looks like we have like 17 people here. So we'll start. Just a brainstorming activity, and I just want to see how well it works and if you like it. So we will begin. If you are late, you can just put in the pin. It'll show at the bottom. So you have 30 seconds to put an answer here. So qualities of a good personal trainer. So you just have to type your answer and you have 30 seconds to think of something. And then it should create a word cloud. That's the idea. So instead of writing on the board, oh, okay. I guess everyone answered. Oh, okay. The cloud is forming. You can see the screen, right? Cool. Awesome. All right. I hope you like that. That looks cool. So some qualities of a good personal trainer. So we see encouraging, motivated, empathetic, safety for sure, positive, energetic, educated, patient, knowledgeable for sure, motivational, helpful, communication. We can see communication a few times here. Observation, confident, and friendly. Good. All great qualities of a personal trainer, right? So just, being positive, knowledge is obviously a fundamental, important key. And then communication is very, very important. Patience is very true, right? Sometimes it does get frustrating to work with clients. Like, okay, I'm showing you 100 times to do this exercise. Can't you get it right? It takes time, right? And there might be some limitations for some people, in their technique because of mobility issues. So that's something that you would want to look at. And so motivation is important, right? Keeping that client motivated to continue, right? You want someone to stick to their exercise program. That is so important. And that's probably where people get results. If you stick to it, you will get results. It's when you start falling off, your schedule, your routine, that's when, you're not going to make as good of progress. What's show media? Okay, I don't see that. So I hope you found that cool. Did you like that? And then that's the end. Thanks for participating. Thank you. Cool. Was that fun? Okay, so that's a new feature of Kahoot. So I like that. That was fun. Okay. So my slides, I always have to go back. Okay. Okay, so now we are here on this slide. Yeah, hard and soft skills. Oh, I have to go back. Yeah, probably for sure. You definitely need hard and soft skills to be a trainer as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this question here. And there's no word cloud for this, but how important are building relationships and maintaining them with personal training? So what do you, anyone, if you want to just come on the mic and give some feedback here of how important the building relationships are.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
According to me, maybe building relationships is important because they should feel comfortable, right? Because we are personal trainers, because we will personally train them, though they should feel comfortable that they come to us and train with us, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like to feel comfortable and to trust you, right? Having that level of trust. They trust you to take care of them and, you know, okay, show me what to do. I trust you. You're the one who has the knowledge. And, you know, over time, because you're so working so closely with someone one-on-one, that you kind of start to form a relationship, right? But you still want to be professional at the same time,
Also
right?
the confidentiality, they like that, they trust for the privacy as well, so it is also important, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Confidential is important, right? You can't just go ahead and talk to your coworkers after, oh, this person, right, who I worked with. You shouldn't be doing that. That's not, you're not allowed to do that, to be talking about clients, you know, to other people, right? Because you are signing, you know, there's the form where all their information will be kept confidentially. Anything else? Anyone have any other thoughts?
I think it's important to build a relationship just because, first off, you're going to be working with them like more than like normally people see different types of like workers, I guess, in situations. But also the fact that you want to build a relationship so that you can keep training with that same client and maybe see the goals and stuff that they have been like trying to strive for, and also maintain the relationship to for personally reasons to keep your money coming in.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely another reason. Yeah. So, you know, once that client trusts you and you build that relationship, you will probably have a long-term client who will stay with you. You know, I had clients work with for like 4 or 5 years. And, you know, they trust you and, you know, you've helped them achieve some goals and now we're working on new goals, right? So you're kind of helping guide them through, you know, the process to achieve goals and to, you know, achieve what they want out of a program. And again, it's not only necessarily the exercise component, and might also be, you know, for that social component. They like to come to you, you know, a few days a week and to be with you socially. Obviously, you know, with the pandemic, it's been a different climate, but as we start getting back to the gyms and life's getting hopefully slowly back to normal, we can see, you know, we can go back to building relationships, and in person is obviously probably better. And I see a comment here, important to increase the network. Yeah. So another awesome thing is if you have a good relationship with a client, they might refer you to someone they know, right? And they trust you, they know you're good, you build that reputation. They will then say, you know what, I have a friend who's looking for training. You know, can I pass along your information? There you go, another client, right? Even today or a couple days ago, one of my former clients, her daughter actually reached out to me to train her to pass a specific fitness test. So that was cool, right? Like, you know, if a client has enjoyed working with you, that they might, you know, say, you know what, yeah, I know this good trainer, and then you get referred other clients that way. So yeah, for sure. So it is important and maintaining these relationships, right? Because if, let's say, you have a bad relationship with a client or something happens, that might ruin your reputation, right? So that's important, and always staying professional, right? Never want to go beyond your scope of practice. You're not there to be a psychiatrist, right? If someone is having personal issues, this is where you would refer out, as we've talked about. And so, you know, always staying professional is really important, because you never also know who's watching you, especially if you're training at a gym. Everyone else around is watching you, right? So if they see you're kind of like on your phone, not paying attention to the client, they see that, right? And so that also might ruin your reputation. So just important just to understand, you know, being professional, building that trust with the client, and just doing your job and doing it well, right? And there's a lot to it, right? It's not just, hey, we're going to exercise there, you know, talking to your client, how you feeling today, and you know, that social aspect is important as well. Let's go to the next question here of what is program adherence, and then what would be the trainer's role in program adherence? What do you think about that question? Yeah, maintaining consistency. So sticking to a program, that is like a huge component of being able to be successful in reaching your goals, is consistency and adhering to a program. If you show up and let's say you're having a bad day, it happens. We have bad days, right? Where you just feel tired, you don't feel like working out. Are you going to skip it, or are you just going to do something anyways? And sometimes you might find that if you actually go ahead and you start training, you might feel good. You're like, oh, I actually feel better than I thought I did. And I'm sure you might have had those days before where you're like, oh, I'm going to do really bad. And then you hit a personal record. You're like, what? I didn't feel like, and then sometimes it's just all in your head too, right? So the role of a personal trainer as well is to keep that client accountable. So you might have a little bit of a role outside of that 1 hour that you might be training your client, right? Where you might be following up with them through text or email, depending how close you are with that client. And what level you feel that you're comfortable with is, do you want them to text you or not, right? So, you know, following up, you know, let's say you have them scheduled to do sessions on their own without you a couple of days a week, then are they sticking to that, right? And so how can you make sure they're adhering to their program? So there's different things you can do. Have them fill out, you know, a record of what they did for that session. Have them take a picture or a video of them doing, you know, an exercise or something like that. Have a calendar of what they're doing as well, right? So there's different ways you can help with a client to adhere to a program. Anyone have any other ideas of how to help a client stick to their program?
Yeah, you pretty much said it there, like photographs, picture takes, journals, seeing the progress actually work is huge. And highlighting the problem that could, if there's a certain goal that isn't reached, you know, like you said, there's other aspects of the fitness as well, like, oh, maybe look into your sleep, look into your recovery, look into your nutrition. You know, like if they want to burn 500 calories, but they didn't have a good evening dinner and ate a little, ate too much, and they tell you that in their personal feedback on their survey and paperwork, well, maybe we can fix that or just recommend something. But in the training aspect, yeah, it's I like photographs every couple weeks. It's nice to see little changes. That's a nice way to keep motivated for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing too is some clients do get discouraged if they're not like reaching the goal, like, oh, I weighed myself, right? And I didn't lose weight, I gained weight, right? But then that's your role as a trainer to educate them, right? Don't worry, it's okay, right? Look at more how you're fitting into your clothes. If you're gaining weight, you could be gaining muscle, right? So let's look more at the body composition, right? So being able to educate your clients rather than, you know, they get discouraged and then you're like, yeah, don't worry, right? But like educate why might you not be seeing the results, and we can talk about, okay, well, you know, are you sticking to what we talked about, right? And all the different ways to manage your health, right? So you have some other jobs, right? Other than, hey, I'm going to train you for an hour, okay, bye, right? Unless they are working with someone else to manage the other components. And typically they, unless people are rich and can just afford, you know, a personal chef, a trainer, psychiatrist, all that, usually it's one of those, right? So it depends on the situation, but you know, you might have some work outside of that time that you're with that client to kind of keep them accountable to their program. And again, it's up to you how far you want to go. If you want to be texting them at 10 o'clock at night, or just like, you know what, let's schedule, you know, a 5-minute phone call every week just to kind of see where you're at. And as Jordan said, you could, you know, progress pictures if that's something that helps motivate them, or other ways that help kind of keep that client motivated, right? Find what motivates the client. What is keeping them motivated to continue on with their program, right? And what's maybe not keeping them motivated, and so what changes could you make? So there's a lot to it. It's not a simple one-step solution. There's a lot of components that go into training, so that is something that you need to think about as well. All right, that kind of goes to the end of our presentation for today, and I'll just kind of go to your summary slide of what to expect for next week. So next week we start talking about the warm-up. So what are the benefits of warming up, some different types of warm-up. So kind of more the general way, because we'll actually do the exercises in the lab, some examples. We'll talk about some current literature on self-myofascial release. So we will talk about like foam rolling lacrosse ball work, which we'll do in the lab next week. And then we will talk about static versus dynamic stretching. And you might have heard, oh, don't do static stretching in a warm-up. Can you do static stretching in the warm-up? That is the question. I'm not going to answer it now. We'll talk about that next week. And then we will start our lab. So our content right away. No more orientation. We go right into it. Expect to be there for your full 2 hours. We'll go into learning about the treadmill. If you know how to use a treadmill, great. But now can you cue a client safely through it? Okay, so that's where some people end up struggling, is that part of the problem or the puzzle, right? Is, okay, well, can I cue a client through it now? And then we will go through some foam rolling and lacrosse ball work next week. If you'd like to print out the lab handout, you're more than welcome to bring it to lab. As I said, you're going to be given the lab handout to take a look at, and then you'll have to give it back. So you can't keep it. So that's the end for today. Does anyone have any questions? Great. So I do recommend watch that video I posted on DC Connect. I mean, if you quickly want to watch it with me now and you're like, yeah, sure, let's go watch the video, I can play it for you, or we can watch it on your own time. Okay. Okay, I mean, if you don't want to watch, you're like, I'm good, you can go ahead, you can go about your day and enjoy the rest of your day. It's only about, I think, like a 5-minute video. So if you want, I will quickly pull it up. So you just give me a moment here to get it set up. And it'll be a good test to see how videos work today. So let's just do that quickly. It's funny, so we'll enjoy ourselves here for 5 minutes. All right. So let's see. Can we see the YouTube? It says worst personal trainers. Okay, can you tell me when I play it if you can't hear the sound? I want to make sure you can hear the sound, okay?
Works. This is a kettlebell. And what we're gonna do with the kettlebell is we're gonna have you get on your knees and you're gonna keep your head straight, your eyes level. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it on your head. That's gonna do a lot of different things in a unique way. A lot of muscle groups are gonna come into play, but most importantly, it's gonna hit the cranium, impact that brain fluid, and create a synapse. You're familiar with synapse? Well, it's a synapse and it's gonna create a wave that goes through your body and it just instigates muscle growth that quick. It's a new concept. Very few people know about it. You're one of the first. So go ahead and get on your knees. And again, I'm just gonna drop the ball and it's gonna impact your cranium. Are you ready? Yeah. Jesus.
I can't. I can't see out of my right eye. Is it the synapse?
All right, we're gonna go ahead and begin this training session with some dumbbell shoulder press. So go ahead and grab the 8-pounders right there. This isn't just about the shoulders, it's also about other body parts such as the core. And you're gonna wanna keep it nice and tight. That's perfect. Good. Good, really feeling it. Nice. All right. Okay, I'm done. Let's go ahead and move on to the next exercise. Now you should really feel the activation in those glutes. And I am definitely feeling those activations, so you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Nice, nice. Now I don't have to be touching you right now, but I want to. And we're finished. Okay, well, wow. I had a great time, and it's really fun meeting you, but kind of a one and done guy, and I'm afraid we probably can't see each other again, sorry. But you know, good luck with everything. Good luck with the gym, and maybe we'll see each other around sometime.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, keep going. Breathe. What's up? Training clients here, super busy. You know, celebrity trainer, working hard. Yeah. Keep going.
Am I supposed to breathe or
What? Yeah, breathe.
Oh, yeah. Nice. No, one more. Come on, you got it, man. You got it. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Good job.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I should introduce myself. Brad, nice to meet you.
Oh, hey.
Oh, you know what? No, I'll put those up for you.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what we do here. Just want to let you know I'm a personal trainer here, and I don't even have my card, but the good news is I got my name tag actually with the number on the back. If you just want to go ahead and grab that, that'll work. 25% off my first training session. I mean, since we basically already got started with me spotting you, how about we begin our session? 50% off?
I mean,
75. Dude, I mean, I'll even do the first one for free, as long as you do the next 35 sessions.
Well, I just, I'm a student and everything. I just can't really
Well,
afford
dude,
it.
I mean, I'm a student.
It's just hard. I literally don't think I could afford it. But then, to sign up for that much training. Maybe we could try the first one, I guess, and just see where it goes. I mean, I guess I could put it on my credit card. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, good. Let's get started.
Whoa, wait, what are we doing? No, not, one sec. I gotta show you. Here, just stand right there. Yeah. This is the lateral raise. It's working the lateral portion of the deltoid. See what I'm doing? You watching? Oh yeah. What do you think? 3 more reps? Count them.
1?
Yep. Oh, that's right. Ooh, good. Whew. Okay, so let's try the next exercise. It's another awesome deltoid. Okay, let's go. So me and some friends went out last night. Good time. I mean, I gotta be honest. It was probably one of the best times.
Track the reps?
Huh?
How many reps am I supposed to do?
10 more. Yeah. Let me just finish the story though, and then about the length of the story is going to be the right amount of reps. So we.
Dude, I don't want to hear this story.
I'm just gonna stand right at the exit where you can't avoid me on your way out. So you just finish your workout, and if you change your mind, I'll be right there. So you just, right there. I'll just be here.
Yeah. Honestly, some of those are pretty accurate. Not gonna lie, as much as you're probably laughing at that video, you would be surprised how many people that you see like that. For sure on the phone, or I'm gonna show you and do it all, or the trainer venting about their life to the client. So that's it from my end for today. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. And then if not, I will see you in lab next week, if it's Tuesday or Thursday. And I think most of you I have in lab. If you're not in my labs from 10 to 2 or 10 or 12 on Tuesday or Thursday, your lab instructor would be Manny. So he is the other lab instructor. If you don't see me, you'll have Manny, but he's great as well. So that's it from my end. And again, if you have questions before you go, let me know. If not, that is the end for today. Yeah, good way to end class. Yeah. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad we played it. So I'm glad the videos work better than Bongo, I'll tell you that. I'll see you next week on Friday and in the lab. Enjoy your weekend.